Poppin' like I'm supposed to. Watch out for the people that ain't close to. Speak a little something you could toast to. I ain't tryna hear about what you won't do. Moving like I'm into. Hit the ground running like the rent do. Speak a little something that you're into. I ain't tryna hear about what you been through. Like hold up, say what's the hold up. I got the pack, who got the roll up? I'm tryna pull up. It seem like every time I show up, it gotta go up. See the drip, they see the glow up. Oh, now they know us. See, it's funny how my pockets out of shape, but I'm fit for the flex. Clear the phone call, hit my chick with a text. Parlay through the bird with my drip from the jacks. Save a couple hundred by your with the rest. I prefer my reefer with Henny and Coke. Please don't be stingy, got plenty to smoke. Show up and act up and back to the crib. I do not stun, I just rap what I live. Seem like they doing the most for the clout. Did what I said so they know what I'm about. Show up and act up and back to the crib. I do not stun, I just rap what I live. Ayy, winning like I ought to. I ain't wanna do it, but I got to. Smoking what my doctor told me not to. Got these wishing they was hot too. Ballin' like I need to. Got my exes wishing for a redo. Smell the marijuana when I speed through. Hit her with the tip, that's a preview. Hold up, wait up, get your weight up. Shit, get your money, not your hate up. Boy, draw a play up. I flip my wrist, a layup. She wanna lay up. I gotta get it, I'ma stay up. I'm all the way up. I got my pay up. I ain't playing with you. I'm a coach now. Commentating through the most now. I be somewhere booted with my toes down. Make little baby tooted with her nose down. I prefer my reefer with Henny and Coke. Please don't be stingy, got plenty to smoke. Show up and act up and back to the crib. I do not stun, I just rap what I live. Seem like they doing the most for the clout. Did what I said so they know what I'm about. Show up and act up and back to the crib. I do not stun, I just rap what I live.
What's up, good executive Vipo? Let me know that you can hear me in the chat by typing either justice for Tupac or light over darkness. Justice for Tupac or light over darkness, because or shock and awe and every other adjective for just mind not being able to wrap yourself around this news that as of today, they are announcing that the person responsible, we on YouTube, so I can't talk the way I talk on Patreon, but the person responsible for unaliving Tupac has been arrested after 2 decades. I think we're heading towards 3 decades. So I literally just found out this information. I don't know what I found out maybe 3 hours ago, like many of us. And so I have yet to, really absorb the entire story to be able to do the deep diving and all of that. This is a story that is close to, many of us who grew up in the era of Tupac, and it was a shock that rang through the hip hop community, and really still to this day is like just a huge monumental moment in hip hop history, along with the unaliving of Biggie, which then occurred after this, right? I always get confused at who went first, but I think Biggie was after this. So, anyway, we're going to get into what is publicly known right now regarding this story, and then, I'm just going to show you what we have, and then we will revisit this. Trust me, we just getting started with this, so we're going to see how this goes, and then we're gonna be following this one, y'all. We're definitely gonna be following this one. And I will say, I thought this day would never come. I honestly, after all these years, I honestly was like, whoever did it got away with it. It's unfortunate, but I also thought that um, the law enforcement were not even really caring and looking into this. But we find out from what I'm going to show you that they have been hard at work all these years, all these decades. So thank you to everyone who let me know that you could hear me by typing either Justice for Tupac or Light Over Darkness. We got, I see Trey Keisha, we got Aaron Smith, Shaquina Smith, Lydia Jones, Felicia B, Nicole Driver, Kimika, I think I said Aaron Smith, but Aaron Smith and his MJ, Deborah, Margin, and Radiant and Queen Carmel, Carol, Chamberlain, T, Maria, and Linda, and Minister Annette Edwards, and D Baby. And I'm seeing a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time. So usually I would stop now, but I'm like, Margin and Don and Annie. I'm like, but I'm seeing, and Derica and Yolanda. But I'm saying all these names that that I haven't seen in a while. So thank all of you for joining us this evening. So this is going to be a one topic live, and then after this, I will be meeting those of you who are part of our Patreon executive Veeple. We will be meeting over there for another story time like we did last night. It was pretty good. If you're part of the executive Veeple community over there on Patreon, let them know in the chat. It was lit. It's always lit when we do our lives over there. But anyway, if you're not a part of that Patreon, you can definitely join us. And so you can click on the link pinned to the top of the chat and join us tonight even. Just join the Patreon. So anyway, what they are saying regarding this case, a man who prosecutors said ordered the 1996 unaliving of rapper Tupac Shakur was arrested and charged for on Friday, today, in a long-awaited breakthrough in one of hip-hop's most enduring mysteries. They said Duane Keffe D. Davis has long been known to investigators as one of the 4 suspects identified early in the investigation. He isn't the accused gunman, but was described as the group's ringleader by authorities on Friday at a news conference and in court. We're going to show that too. Duane Davis was the shot caller for this group of individuals that committed this crime, said the police homicide lieutenant, and he orchestrated and planned that what we now know was unfortunately carried out. So let's get into what we have in regards to video. This first clip I'm going to play is a newscast with the overview of the case.
Let's go to our Jeff Paul in our West Coast newsroom, where we have reports 27 years after it happened that an arrest has been made in connection with the murder of Tupac Shakur. Jeff.
Well, yeah, John, and this is a case not only the public has obsessed over for nearly 3 decades, but one investigators have clearly not forgotten about either. And according to reporting by the Associated Press, Las Vegas police have someone in custody who they say was somehow involved in the shooting death of hip-hop icon Tupac Shakur. Sources telling AP News, Duane Keffe D. Davis was arrested early this morning, though the exact charge or charges he faces isn't known right now. His arrest happening just 2 months after Las Vegas police raided Davis's wife's home in Henderson, Nevada. Now, at the time, police were apparently looking for items concerning the murder of Tupac. Police reportedly seized computers, a cell phone, a hard drive, several .40 caliber bullets, tubs of photographs, and a copy of a Vibe magazine that featured Tupac. Now, we should note Davis isn't a stranger to investigators when it comes to Tupac's murder. Davis wrote a tell-all memoir called Compton Street Legend. He admitted to being inside the Cadillac where the fatal shots were fired back in September of 1996. Davis has described himself as one of the last people alive to have witnessed the shooting of Tupac. The rapper was at the height of his career, having just released his 4th solo album called All Eyes on Me. It was in a BMW with Death Row Records founder Suge Knight at the time of the shooting. They were idling at a stoplight when a white Cadillac pulled up next to them and fired roughly 14 shots. Tupac was hit 4 times and died days later at just 25 years old. Now, we have reached out to Las Vegas PD, but haven't heard back just yet. John?
Yeah, it's my understanding that they'll have more information a little bit later on today. But up until now, it was believed that a fellow named Baby Lane Anderson, who was assaulted by Tupac Shakur's entourage that night that he was shot in Las Vegas, was the prime suspect in the killing. That had been reported in the Los Angeles Times. It's interesting that now the spotlight turns toward this new suspect, Keffe D.
Yeah, and according to AP's reporting, this is a person who was somehow involved. And, according to his memoir, he was there at the time of the shooting and has said to have talked to investigators over the years. What exactly changed, what they found at his wife's house, we'll hopefully find out soon.
So that is the overview of the story, and then we're going to get into the actual press conference from the law officials. The crazy part, and I'm seeing some of y'all, I thought I had somebody in the chat, Kimmy, but maybe Kimmy is occupied. Let me see. I'm seeing some of y'all. Right. This is insane. Some of the things that to hear, right, Trey Keisha, to hear that he had all of that evidence there, all of that stuff is it's really textbook for people who commit those sort of crimes. Like they say, those people who unalive people tend to either return to the scene of the crime, and or they tend to brag about the crime because they can't hold it in, especially when they've gotten away with it. And it's almost like they're bragging, or like a dog returning to their vomit. And this is a prime example of it again. Whereas he could have went radio silent and kept his mouth shut and not did interviews regarding, like they said, writing books and stuff and admitting that he was in the vehicle. If he could have just kept his mouth shut, chances are we wouldn't have this moment. I'm glad he didn't. I am very glad that he didn't. However, this is what they do now. Pink Pearls is asking, does he have cancer now? I don't know anything. If he does, this is news to me. I haven't been able. This is just a couple hours old, and I've put all of 30 minutes into this story so far. So maybe a full hour. But So I don't know if you guys know that, confirm it in the chat, but whatever, you guys, well deserved. So so that was the overview. So this next clip I'm going to play is the actual press conference from law enforcement, speaking of the charges and giving way more details. So here we go.
September 7th of 1996, as we all know, Tupac Shakur was an artist who was signed with Death Row Records. And that Death Row Records and its CEO, Marion Suge Knight, were closely affiliated with the Mob Piru criminal street gangs, and that they had an ongoing feud with the Southside Compton Crips. Duane Davis was the leader and shot caller of the Southside Compton Crips. And both of these gangs operated out of the Southern California area of Compton. On the night of September 7th of 1996, Tupac Shakur, along with Suge Knight and members of their entourage, which include members of Mob Piru, came to Vegas to attend the Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Members of the Southside Compton Crips, which included Duane Davis, along with his nephew Orlando Anderson, were also in attendance at the same event. As both were leaving the fight, members of Death Row Records spotted Orlando Anderson near an elevator bank inside the MGM, and at that time they began to kick and punch him near that elevator bank. I will now show you hotel security footage, as many of you have already seen, related to this incident. And on this incident, you will see Tupac Shakur, who's wearing a shiny satiny shirt, along with Marion Suge Knight, who's a large man in a brown suit, punching and kicking Orlando Anderson. Lower your phone. Following this incident, you'll see hotel security intervene, and then they will leave the area of the fight. Little did anyone know that it is this incident right here that would ultimately lead to the retaliatory shooting and death of Tupac Shakur. Following this incident, Tupac and Suge Knight both left the MGM to make their way to a post-fight party, which was to occur at a local nightclub. At the same time, word had spread amongst members of the Southside Compton Crips of what had occurred inside the MGM. And then that's when Duane Davis began to devise a plan to obtain a firearm and retaliate against Suge Knight and Mr. Shakur for what occurred inside the hotel against Mr. Anderson. After Davis obtained a gun, he entered into a white Cadillac along with Terrence Brown, DeAndre Smith, and Orlando Anderson. Based on our investigation, this is where we know they were seated. At some point in time, as they were in the white Cadillac, Mr. Davis took the gun that he had obtained and provided it to the passengers in the rear seat of the vehicle. As they were driving west on Flamingo Road near Koval, they had located the black BMW, which was driven by Suge Knight, and in the passenger seat was Tupac Shakur. And as they turned around, they pulled up near the passenger side of that vehicle and immediately began shooting at Mr. Knight and Mr. Shakur. Following that shooting, the white Cadillac fled the area southbound on Koval, and after our officers arrived on scene, Tupac was later transported to the University Medical Center, where he was treated medically and died approximately 6 days later on September 13th. My homicide section handled this investigation from its onset and for a short amount of time. And within a short amount of time, what we knew was that we were working a gang investigation where our victims, our witnesses, and our suspects were all from Southern California and not local to Las Vegas. Within the first few months of the investigation, our detectives knew most of the information I just briefed you on. However, we never had the necessary evidence to bring this case forward and present it for criminal charges. As time went on, this case had been reviewed multiple times by different investigators assigned to my section, but it wasn't until 2018 that this case was reinvigorated as additional information came to light related to this homicide. Specifically, Duane Davis's own admissions to his involvement in this homicide investigation that he provided to numerous different media outlets. In our section, we knew at this time that this was likely our last time to take a run at this case, to successfully solve this case and bring forth a criminal charge. It was at that time that this case was assigned to Cliff Mogg, a detective within my homicide section. And over the last 5 years, my section worked closely, hand in hand with the Clark County District Attorney's Office, and followed a systematic investigative plan over the last 5 years. We've conducted countless interviews and corroborated numerous facts that were not only consistent with the crime scene on the night of the incident, but also corroborated and were consistent with the sequence of events that night. This ultimately led to us procuring a search warrant which was executed at Mr. Davis's residence in Henderson, Nevada. And following the execution of that search warrant, in close coordination with the District Attorney's Office, this case was presented to the grand jury, which ultimately led to Davis being indicted on charges of murder.
So it actually cut off when on that newscast, but like I said, I was trying to pull this really quickly together for y'all because I wasn't intending to go live tonight originally, but this was well worth. This was breaking news. This was a must. We waited nearly 3 decades for this. So I do want to during the week come back and like revisit this and give a more full picture of everything going on in regards to this. But the poll question I put out here is, are you shocked that this is finally being solved? 79% of you are saying yes, and 20% of you are saying you are not surprised. I'm a part of that 79% because I honestly had given up all hope. I would say my hope maybe lasted 10 to 15 years. And then I was like, this ain't looking good. This is kind of over. And then when they did the movie, the one I asked, the other poll question was, did you watch or see the miniseries from a couple years ago regarding Tupac's life and basically his demise? I don't remember. Put in the chat if you know. I'm sure somebody remembers. Where was it? It was streaming on something, but I can't remember. Was it Hulu? Was it? It wasn't HBO, but I feel like it was a streaming platform, I think. But put on there where people can watch it. But I do recall, and it was like a mini series. I want to say it was a few episodes. What I can't 100% remember is if I actually completely watched the entire thing. But if you haven't, I remember it was really good. I just can't remember. And that never means, for many of us, that doesn't mean we stop watching it because it wasn't good. Sometimes we just get busy and forget about shows. So I think that's what happened with it. But what the parts I do remember, it was really good. So I highly recommend it. I'm going to rewatch it. Thank you so much, Noel. So on Netflix, hopefully I'm pretty sure if it wasn't still there, I guarantee you it'll be there by this weekend. They putting that back up if it was ever taken down. So I will rewatch that. I'm going to just try to get myself refamiliarized with the story just because it's been so long. So we will be talking about this because this is a flash from the past. I see a few of the people are talking about their memories from it and everything. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead to the messages, and then we're gonna get on out of here. I'm gonna do your comments and give a little commentary, and then we're gonna head on out of here, and we will catch up on this next week. But let's see. We have a few. We have what was he keeping that stuff for? Trophies? Yeah, Carol. Again, like I was saying, I think you commented this right around the time I was commentating on that. That's what these monsters do. When they cause harm to people, they have been known. It's studies out there that shows that most times they keep some sort of artifact or whatever as a trophy, or even revisiting the area or having to, they can't keep their mouth. This dude writing memoirs about it and all of that. Some stuff just not even worth it. I wish none of this happened at all. Exactly. So this is the other question. Again, this is why I got to really dig back, because I don't remember details like that. I have these thousands of stories in my mind that I'll be working on for y'all. So I don't remember details really well anymore. But now it makes me question, because from what I recall, when we were younger and this all went down, it was supposedly the beef between between Pac and Biggie. So is this now saying that Biggie had nothing to do with this? Or that beef between the two of them had nothing to do with this? Or was it still somehow related? Because now I'm trying to think of the movie or the little mini series. I think they were tying all this together, but I can't remember. But y'all let me know. I know y'all remember some of this more than I do. But I see True Paradox saying, I hope they find out what happened to Biggie. So basically, that's what's got me wondering now. Okay, so are those two totally separate incidents, or are they still tied together in some way? Lydia Jones is saying, you're right. We all thought it was Biggie, but I don't think Biggie had anything to do with it. I didn't think it was Biggie per se, but I thought it was people related to Biggie's entourage team, or P Diddy, or something like that. They said someone was working for Puffy. Related to these four guys, and three of them are deceased, which is interesting. So they got there. I would love to know, and I'm going to find out for y'all, but I want to know what happened to each one of them, each one of the three who are no longer alive. So only the guy, Keffe, as y'all telling me it's pronounced, and I just heard them on the newscast, but Keffe is the only one who's still alive out of all of them, and he's the one who orchestrated it. So they were just his little lambs going into slaughter. As Mama used to say, loose lips sink ships. That exactly. But yeah, this is right, Carolyn Chamber, the East Coast versus West Coast whole thing. So now it's just got my mind wondering and churning, and what we knew and what we thought was true, what's really was true, what's not true. Like, was that an industry ploy that wasn't supposed to ever become this, and maybe something outside of that caused this, this whole thing? I don't know. Majestic is saying, I do think Suge might be involved with Biggie's passing. Possibly, because maybe he thought that they were responsible for Pac's passing. And then we know Suge got his own issues anyway, so ain't no telling. He might have still partially had some part. Because I remember one of the conspiracy theories was that Suge had orchestrated that to happen, which is a little crazy, because he was in the car and there was 14 shots. And it's like, how does somebody, do 14 shots and be like, but make sure none of them hit me? So I don't know about that, his dad said Big had nothing to do with it. Big quietly came to the hospital to see him. I can believe that. I can absolutely believe that. Because a lot of even the beefs that we see today in social media with these, new artists, a lot of that stuff is orchestrated for y'all, because they know that creating the drama actually gets more attention than if they were just best buddies and showing themselves on vacation and hanging out and being cool and supporting each other. People are like, oh, that's boring. When y'all gonna start fighting? That's social media for you today. It's toxic. People want to see the drama. Get to finding out somebody fighting with somebody, or they sent them a hateful voice message, or they own IG live fighting back and forth. Oh, people like, what's happening? What's happening? Where's my phone at? I can't wait. Oh my God, Vale, did you hear about? But if they out holding hands and skipping through the lily fields, people like, oh my God, when's somebody gonna get to fighting? Some drama. Where the drama at? It's too much like right. So this comment is, some stuff just not even worth it. I wish none of this happened at all. I think I read that. And then Gilda, we said he was thinking they was not going to get trouble. Right. Talking dummy. Yeah. Right. I thank him. I actually thank him for talking too much. I really greatly appreciate that. It took this long, but I really appreciate it that we got here. How do you want it is what comes to mind. Tupac song. Right. I honestly didn't think I would ever see this day come. Yeah, I honestly just a part of me was sometimes wondering, was the conspiracy that Tupac was still alive? Was it true? Because I'm like, they ain't found him. The person after all this time, like, is he even gone? I was up, my brain was going all over the place. Like, was this the Illuminati? Right, he was self-snitching. Right, because all his co-conspirators are gone. They're gone. He did this. Delilah says they never know how to keep their mouth shut. Lavelle, look at OJ if I did it. Yes, well, the unfortunate, and you're totally right. Again, even OJ is a prime example of someone who got away with it and then wrote a book about, well, but if I had did it, y'all, this is how I would have did it. Like he couldn't help himself. Unfortunately, they couldn't use that against him to, retry him, unfortunately. But yeah, exactly. He's a prime example. Yeah, they keep mementos. Tupac's been doing his numbers lately from heaven. When his dad did that eye-opening interview, I knew it's a higher power at play. See, I'm not familiar, so that's something I'm gonna have to look up. If you can, put more details in the chat. Like, was there a recent? Is it on YouTube? Where's this interview with his father, and how long ago was it? That's interesting. If anyone is old enough, you remember this. I remember it like this was yesterday. The funny part, I saw your comment and I start this, Lydia, because I remember very vividly when I heard that Biggie passed away, because I was in college and I had literally just pulled up to school and I was listening to the radio and I was parking. And as soon as I pulled in the park, they started announcing it, and it made me like late for class because I was listening like, what? But for some reason, I don't recall exactly when I heard that Tupac passed away. I just can't remember when I heard that. I remember when Aaliyah passed away. I remember when I heard that. But yeah, for some reason, Tupac, I just don't remember the moment I found out. But I remember that time and yeah, how traumatic it was for the hip hop community and our generation, really, period. Orlando is the name I've always heard was the unaliver. Interesting. Oh, he was unalive 2 weeks later. So did Keffe have something to do with that? Or did Suge have something to do with that? This is very, I think we're gonna find out a lot of new things that we didn't know before about this whole situation. This is funny that you put this in here, Anetta. I hope Jada not acting up too much behind this news. She really needs to try to fix her marriage. It's funny that you brought her up, and I'm like, I don't want to be messy, but literally my mind went to Jada as well with this. Like, I wonder what's happening with her, because she had just posted, it was either this week or last week for sure, because I even screen recorded it. She had just posted a video of her and Tupac doing like a little karaoke style. Were they rapping? Were they singing something or whatever? But it was them as teenagers. And she literally just posted that. So that, and then we know, from the other drama, we know that her, even her kids writing to Tupac in heaven, asking him to come back and why he got to die so that he could make her mama happy, because she ain't been happy since he been gone. It's like, ouch. Your kids praying for your mom's ex-best friend, supposedly, from what she tells, as she said. It's interesting. But yeah, I do truly, I would love to be a fly on the wall with that. I think Diddy was behind Pac's death. Well, we'll find. I don't know if we'll find that out. It's so much. Diddy got so much. It's so. I haven't touched that story yet, but there's so many layers to that as well. It's on my radar, but that's something that's going to take me some months to do because it's so many layers to that whole Puffy thing. And who did I see? Somebody in the chat, one of the first messages was saying something about his moves lately with the stuff he's been giving back to people, and he's now giving the catalogs to his old artists, etc. But one of the complaints that people have been saying, again, I've been like paying attention and archiving stuff in my brain, but I haven't dug deep yet. But one of the things people were saying with that is he waited until he sucked the catalogs dry. Like they're not profitable. They're not as profitable like they used to be. So we might be talking about, if they getting anything from those catalogs, might be a couple $100 a month, where he was, when it was worth something, was when he kept it. Now that it's not worth nothing, he's giving it to people, and then people are singing his praises like, oh, that's so nice of him. Well, not after he just sucked all the money out of the catalogs. You know, what he needs to do is give them the money he's earned from it as well. Then we can talk about it. So it's those sort of things. Tupac was good friends with a lot of them. He stayed with Jasmine Guy after he got Pow the first time. Yeah, a lot of them were close. Orlando is Keffe's nephew. He was unalive over something different. Okay, their grandmother transitioned a day before the incident. Is so much interesting. Thank y'all for these. Any other tidbits y'all have, put it in the chat, because I will be watching this back and using some of y'all comments as my guide as I'm putting this whole timeline and story. Diddy is a whole mystery. Yes, I'm with you. I'm not disagreeing, but in a way, not, because his business is out there. It's just very scattered because people be telling on him. Oh, there's so much. There is so much. I've gone down the P Diddy rabbit hole a couple times. Like, wow, I didn't know this. So I just, in the last poll I had up here, do you want me to follow this story or trial if it becomes a trial? Which he's probably going to fight it. Do y'all think he's going to fight it? Let me put that. Do you think? I'm gonna put that as the next poll. But 93% of y'all want to keep up with this. Do you think Keffe will go to trial? Do you think Keffe gonna go to trial, or do you think he's going to roll over like a play puzzle, just be like, y'all got me, y'all got me? Do y'all think this is going to go to trial? I kind of feel like he probably going to fight for the remainder of his life, whether he got cancer or not or whatever's going on. I think he's going to fight for the remainder of his freedom. So, I mean, he's old at that. So he knows if he does get convicted for this, that's a life sentence. Like, you just gone, no matter what they give him. So I kind of think he's going to fight it. But time to tell for sure. He is old. Put that back. What happened? Where'd that go? Okay. He is old, so if he fights, fight it, especially if he's sick, he might not spend a day in jail. That part too. So even that's a good point, Lydia. Even as a tactic to avoid jail, even if he's guilty and he knows that they got him, if he can just play with the justice system long enough to stay alive and then just die before he ever gets, actually convicted, then that's a win for him. So I agree with that. He could use the trial as a tactic to just delay the inevitable. Fight what? He's all over the internet admitting guilt. Yeah, I'm with you, Life Alonda, but I don't know how long you've been. Well, I know your name is familiar, but I don't know exactly how long you've been around. But keep in mind, we've done the Tim Norman trial over here. Tim Norman was as guilty as I don't know. They had 40,000 pieces of evidence against Tim Norman, and he still was pleading his innocence in the trial. Got on the witness stand and was pleading his innocence and just proving even more how guilty he was. On top of that, the things I haven't yet talked about, we still are doing a transcript, y'all. I got a whole thing. October is the month because we got Andre Montgomery's birthday on October 14th. I got a whole thing coming out for that. Then we're moving into the transcripts, the whole thing. Got some stuff planned. But anyway, You got Tim Norman, who is, I didn't do it. Yes. You got Tim Norman, who is literally still appealing. Miss Robbie is spending probably hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point on attorneys. He's still fighting. He has Bill Cosby's attorney. They spending real money. So I'm with you that Keffe guilty. Obviously, they spent 30 years putting this together, Keffe. So we know they got you. We ain't none of us people, at least. There's somebody out there like, he might not be guilty. Probably his family and friends. But the rest of us, we know you guilty. But that doesn't mean that they gonna, he gonna roll over and play possum, just be like, oh, y'all got me. Okay, take me. No, he gonna play the system because that's what criminals do. They play the system. So, do you think it's gonna go to trial? 73% of you say yes, 27% of you say no. I'm questioning the 28% of you or so. Why are you saying that it may not go to trial? What is your thinking behind that? I'm just curious. I'm always pretty curious with the outliers. I was putting in this last poll question. I'm so rusty, y'all. It's been like 3 weeks since I've been on here. No, it's only been because I came on a week or so ago. But anyway, just let me know. We are going to wrap up this story. I just wanted to come to you with this, share what we know so far, share the little news clips that I have seen. Again, I will dig deeper into this and, revisit it next week and along with some other stuff. And but in the meanwhile, I'm going to head on over to Patreon where we have we do story times. We do all kind of stuff. We talk. It's very unfiltered over there. But anyway, for those of you who are a part of the Executive People currently, join me over there on Patreon. And if you're not a part of it and you want to be, click that link that is pinned to the top of the chat. And if you're watching a replay, I'll have it also pinned in the bottom comment below. Also, for those of you who are not aware, I have been posting shorts and highlight videos. So just take a look back. You may have missed some of the videos that have been uploaded this past week or two because I don't send notifications out necessarily for the highlight videos. I probably will start doing that. But other than that, thank you all for joining us this evening. I do miss y'all. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, and those on Patreon, we're going right on over there. So just get ready to click the link. But anyway, for everyone else, I will see you guys next week. Make sure to enjoy your weekend. Take care and be blessed. Peace.